Hello, everyone. This is Henry Kramer, 605 Chaser, coming to you live here. All right, so let's go ahead and I know I said that I would be joining you at 8:15, but I wanted to break in with this live weather update. So we're showing some very nice temperatures expected. Obviously, cooler air blasting in Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, but then we're going to warm right back up. We do have a marginal risk for areas of South Dakota today, as well as all the way up into Minnesota, back to over to Wyoming and north part of Colorado. I don't expect anything huge. Mainly, this is going to probably hit primarily in the western sandhills of Nebraska and eventually make its way eastward, but it's going to struggle as it pushes, as it typically seems to do, as it moves to the east. But the main thing that I want to talk about today is the cooler temperatures. You know, we're going to end up with 40s for overnight lows by Friday night into Saturday, and but we'll have a blast of warmer, unseasonably warmer temperatures, and we'll give you a 6 to 10 day outlook here shortly. I do want to thank our sponsors, Mission Nutrition, Fit Revolution, and Refuel Nutrition, all located in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Go ahead and talk to their coaches today. They definitely know what it takes to fuel your body with the nutrition and the goodness. They can give you shakes. I mean, there's brownie batter mocha, one of my favorite coffees. They've got that covered, and they also have an amazing tea that boosts your energy. Lots of options there. There's Shark Bite, Watermelon Thunder. There's some of these great classic ones that you definitely and reasonably priced. They're not overpriced. And you get a chance to talk to the coaches, and they won't try to upsell you. They'll just tell you like it is and give you all the fuel that you need for your body. So appreciate those sponsoring us, and check them out. Tell them 605 Chaser sent you. Let's go ahead and dive in to our other weather here. What I kind of want to talk to you about is the 6 to 10 day temperatures. As you can see behind me, it's warmer than average. And then as far as the precip goes, this brown, that's drier than normal. We're certainly not going to see a whole lot of that. The 6 to 10 is right there behind me. And as you can see up in Billings, Montana area and Bismarck, they're really going to see much warmer than average temperatures, and then that drier air there. Let's go ahead and bring up our wonderful radar Omega, and let's take a dive and see how the day may progress along here. Let's go ahead and back that up a little bit to our 7 a.m. update. And as we dive through here, you can see the western sandhills of Nebraska really gets going, even up in northern part of northwestern part of South Dakota. We get a few blips there of stronger rain band, and eventually that gets a little bit more organized as we get into areas of the Badlands there by 4 p.m. That's when it really gets organized, and then making its way over to central part of South Dakota by the late afternoon, early evening. But as this particular model will show, going to have a hard time getting to things to go as it moves to the east part of the state. Around midnight, look at that, pretty much done and over with. Let's go ahead and take a look at the NAM 3K and see what that has for an update. Now this was updated at 2 a.m., so it's going to have a little bit of a difficulty giving you a comparison, but primarily the reason that I'm showing you this is so that you can see it's a little tough to figure out where those showers are really going to show up. And as you can see, as the day goes on, it gets much more spotty in the eastern part of South Dakota and into the overnight hours. This one puts more of the emphasis on the western part of South Dakota, and that's primarily where I think most of the moisture is going to come, and they definitely need that. Let's go ahead and take a look at the NAM 12K. That was ran at 2 a.m. as well for comparison purposes. And then we'll take a look here in a little bit at the radar, but as you can see, western South Dakota really getting most of the moisture and avoiding areas like South Dakota, southeastern part of South Dakota. GFS, that was updated at 4 a.m. Let's go ahead and get that. Take a moment here to get that updated, and it's updated. So this puts it 4 p.m. things getting going. Central South Dakota gets more of the moisture, and that's about it. So, and then northeastern part of South Dakota. Let's go look at a live radar look right now and figure out where it is. Well, it's all over in western South Dakota. We do currently have temperatures in the cool 60s, dew points 40s, generally speaking. We do have some 70s up in Spearfish as well as Rapid City, but nothing real big today. As we look at a loop here, we can see as those showers try to get more numerous, but really struggling for the day. We won't expect things to really ramp up until the early afternoon hours. But let's take a look at the temperatures over in the Sioux Falls area. Current temperatures, we're showing 60s, 50s for dew points. We do expect to see some of that warmer air, not going to be muggy by any means, but warmer air making its way from the south and from the Gulf. And for that, we'll take a look at HRRR's latest update so we can take a look at the dew point levels and what we're expecting to have that, what we're expecting to have happen with that. As you can see, north central South Dakota, the dew points get into the upper 50s, low 60s. I'll put there we go, right there. And then if we progress this a little bit further on throughout the day, the moisture comes up from the south, and that's when why they were expecting some storms possibly later today. But as you can see, the drier air up in extreme northwestern South Dakota up here, certainly much drier air there. Let's go ahead and take a look at that. 30 degree by 11 p.m. tonight, and that's the precursor of where we're expecting the much cooler, drier air. So basically there's this low pressure out here spinning and spinning, and it's going to drop through here, and that will definitely change our temperatures for a short bit. But as that 6 to 10 day outlook showed you, that'll be just for a short bit. And if we look at the temperature anomalies for South Dakota over the next 10 days or so, taking a little bit for this to update here. So you can see the GFS really does a pretty crazy job with it, showing 90s for Sioux Falls area around 7 p.m. I don't know if we're going to get that crazy today. That seems a little excessive. But this is why there's so many different updates, and then trying to match them all. But as you can see, 4 a.m. on the 6th, much cooler air up in this area of South Dakota and North Dakota. Even over into north central Minnesota, you got 40s there. Let's take a global look at that so that you can kind of see the temperature differences. Blast of warm air. This does a pretty good job of showing that warm air right in central South Dakota. This is even putting a possibility of some 100-degree temperatures in south central South Dakota. Now that is just nuts. I realize it's early September, but just crazy. I think that is a possibility of having some upper 90s, but I don't know if I would go as far to say some 100-degree weather. And widespread 100-degree weather on the 10th is what that's looking like. Blast of warm air through mid-September. And then eventually, if we go out, this is putting it way, way out. We get another blast of cold air according to this. This might be where we end up seeing a few flakes of snow if some moisture, and depending on the low. Let's take a look. That is possible to have that system bring a little bit sometime in the middle of September, which is not unusual. Middle of September out in the hills, could possibly see a few flakes or flurries out there. Hard saying because this is so far out, but nonetheless, did want to give you that update. Let's go ahead and take a quick peek again at that 7-day forecast. We have low 80s for today for Sioux Falls area, upper 70s. I do think for Friday it's really going to be tough to hit that 70-degree mark. Even though it's going to be sunny, that cold air and drier air is going to be coming through and going to make it really tough for it to get up to 71. So that is the latest information that we have. I'm not going to bore you with any other details at this point other than just give you an idea of what we're expecting to have happen for tropical weather. Let's go ahead and put the tropics on here, and we'll dive down into that quick. So the tropics are pretty quiet as far as it goes out west, and we've got plenty of different disturbances here. Only 10%. Let me go ahead and put the right map on here. Apologize. So we only have 10% for over the next 7 days for that development that is to the east of San Juan, Puerto Rico. And then we still only a 30% chance over into areas in the Yucatan. And if we go out to Africa area, 20%. So low chances of any development. Let's go ahead and put on the satellite and show you where these are. You'll be able to see that if I get over to the main region of development, there we go. So as you can see with Cape Verde, there is some development happening there with this radar loop. It's having a little bit of a struggle with getting that going, but there we go. There is some development happening right here. You can definitely see that, and and some here, but it's very low chances of developing over the next 7 days. The tough part is we're transitioning into a weak La Nina weather pattern. And what does that mean for South Dakota and much of the U.S.? Well, basically, if I were to draw a map on this, you're going to end up seeing the wet weather really ramp up here. And we're going to continue to be dry in this area here. But we're going to get typically, well, let's go ahead and pull up a map. That would be best. Illustration, right? Let's go ahead and pull up a map if I can here. Bear with me one moment. Oh, we don't need that. We'll get the right stuff here going. The wrong one there. Let's just go ahead and make sure we get a screen capture of this. Bear with me one moment. There we go. All right, so the best way to put this is with a La Nina weather pattern, we start seeing the wet and the cooler air over in South Dakota. You get the cooler air, and then there's the polar jet stream, as you can see there, that really ramps things up with the La Nina. And with that weaker La Nina weather pattern, it's subject to change because it may not end up being a typical La Nina year because it's going to be very, very weak. Now, typically with La Nina, you end up having the significant Atlantic hurricane season, and we have seen some of that, but it's really struggling to get going, which is great for folks. But you know, it may end up being much later in the season, you know, probably the later part of September before we end up getting things going possibly. And that is because we just aren't seeing a strong La Nina. There's also some people that are suggesting that it is going, and by some people I mean the National Weather Service, that is suggesting it could be a neutral oscillation, which would be, it's not going to be La Nina and it's not going to be El Nino. It would be more of a neutral during the fall and winter part of that weather pattern. So that's kind of to show you what exactly La Nina weather pattern. We'll touch base on that a lot more with our outlook for the winter. So what we typically do here at 605 Chaser is we give you a outlook predictions of how much snow. Now nobody can really truly predict exactly how much snow we're going to expect in one region or the other. I mean, if we knew that exactly, that would be pretty significant. And then you would say, well, why can't you predict where the tornadoes are going to go, right? But no, it's kind of a fun little thing that we've done for a number of years, and it's interesting because I'm a data guy and I like to be able to see how close I can get with that stuff. So that is the latest information that we have as far as weather goes. The other thing that I do want to remind folks is we have our other sponsor here as well, Prairie Pro General Contractors, prairieprosd.com. Check them out today if you need any roofing, siding, commercial, residential. They cover it all. They primarily serve areas in northeast part of South Dakota, so areas like Watertown and that. They can definitely take care of you with over 25 years of experience. You know you're going to get the job done right. Thank you for joining. I appreciate it, and God bless everyone.